श्रीवत्सवंशकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्या अवाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं पूर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यम् लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि In the previous lecture, we saw about the greatness of the Acharya. We were discussing about what Madhurakavi Alvar was doing, why he was interested more in praising his Acharya than actually going and praising Bhagavan himself. So, what happened was, he focused all his time in doing service to his Acharya and in praising his Acharya and spreading his glories, whereas his Acharya himself was involved in praising Bhagavan. So, we discussed about the greatness of the Acharya as expounded by the scriptures, especially those where Bhagavan himself is the speaker. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is composed by Veda Vyasa, we see about how you should behave towards a guru. And that is exactly how Madhurakavi Alvar behaved. Who is Vyasa? Vyasa is Vishnu himself. We should remember that at all times. So the other Puranas were also composed by him. Bhagavad Gita, which is part of Mahabharata, was also composed by him, although he was in the form of Krishna when he revealed those teachings. And when we looked at the other Puranas, for example, when we looked at Padma Purana, we saw that even Lord Shiva is teaching the same thing. Yesham Guru Kripa Nasti Adho Gachanti. That's what that's what Shiva has said. So, Guru Kripa is very important. Guru is very important. Guru Bhakti is very important. We saw all of that. Then we also said that without the Guru, it is not possible to attain anything. And Guru is mandatory. Guru is mandated by Shiva there in the Purana. The Vedas have also said it. We saw references from 2 Upanishads. And then Pancharatra also says, Gurum Prakashayet Dhiman. So, when Pancharatra says Gurum Prakashayet Dhiman, some people say the intelligent people are those who highlight their Guru at all points of time. Uttamur Swami had explained it in a slightly different way. He explained it as implying that those who keep highlighting their Guru, they are the intelligent people. If we see in that way, Madhurakavi Alvar was the most intelligent among the people because he kept highlighting his Guru everywhere he went. Today, we are seeing some acharyas. They might be sitting on even Vyasapitha. They might be having very great number of followers, but they would have a lot of arrogance. They would say, I have such and such a great birth. I have such and such a great background. I come from such and such a great lineage. That is not the Lakshana of a guru or of a Shishya. We should totally avoid it. The Alvars, at all points of time, stressed upon the importance of leaving Ahankara and Mamakara. Nammalvar, the guru of Madhura Kavi Alvar, had in his Tiruvaimudi shown his utter disgust towards, utter repulsion towards Ahankara and Mamakara. How do we know that? Ahankara, Mamakara. Aham means I. Mama means my. Correct? He hated even the words I and my to the extent that he writes Neer Numad in his Pasuram, in his verse. He uses the words Neer and Numad, which mean you and your. That is Twankara and Tavakara. So, what is this Twamkara? Twamkara is the same as Ahankara, but if you have it, I would say Twamkara. I would tell you Twamkara if you have Ahankara. What is Tavakara? If you have Mamakara, I would say Tavakara. He hated the words. So, what was the Alvar intending to say that other people have Ahankara and Mamakara? No. He hated the word I and my so much that instead of those words, he used you and your. To that extent, Swami Nammadvar, Shatakopa Muni, as we celebrate him, hated Ahankara and Mamakara. That level of humility is reflecting his greatness. But at the same time, we should remember where to show humility and where not to. When a totally unintelligent, uneducated, uncultured person comes to debate and blabbers about the Veda, would you go and be humble in front of the person? Or would you say, no, I have really studied the Veda. As a person who has studied the Veda, I know that this is only correct. How should you behave? At that point of time, if you have studied Sanatana Dharma, then you should exercise your authority. So, the use of authority itself is not ahankara, it is not ego. A lot of people misunderstand this part. They think that any reference to authority is ahankara. So, for example, once the Shankaracharya of Puri was asked about some person, some upanyasaka, some pravachanakarta, somebody who is giving lectures on Sanatana Dharma. And the Shankaracharya asked, who are you comparing with whom? I am sitting here as a Shankaracharya, and you are comparing me with a person who is not an acharya, who is not even a guru. That person is just a lecturer on Sanatana Dharma. The public might think he is a guru, but he is not even a guru. His words might have sounded like ahankara, that he thinks he is very great. They might have sounded like he has mamakara, that he has so much pride towards his knowledge. But in reality, that is not the way we should interpret. At that particular instance, whatever he was doing was simply stating the fact. And if you do not state the fact, it will become problematic. Therefore, when imparting knowledge as an authority, it is okay to invoke the authority. That is what Krishna has done. Why are we discussing this part? Because we cited Bhagavad Gita, correct? We even talked about Shishya Lakshana. And we talked about Guru Lakshana as well. We said Siddham Sat Sampradaye Stiradhiyamanagam Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham Sattvastham Satyavacham. We said everything. Obviously, a guru should be void of pride and ego, correct? Is that how Krishna behaves in Bhagavad Gita? We call Krishna as Jagadacharya. We call him as Jagat Guru. He is the Adi Guru. He is Bhagavan himself, right? So, Krishna, who is Jagadacharya, Gita Acharya, he is praised in so many other ways. He is an Acharya. He has taught the Gita, correct? That Krishna, what does he say in Bhagavad Gita? Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. I am the Lord of everybody. Krishna says it. Krishna, should he really say such a thing? And he says this kind of statement a number of times in the Gita. I am the Lord of everybody. I am the controller of everybody. Ishvara sarva bhutanam. He says all of that. Bhutanam Ishvaropi san. Prakritim tvam adhishtaya sambhavam yatma mayaya. There also he says, Bhutanam Ishvaropi san. Being the controller of everybody, he says. Everybody and everything. So, Krishna keeps invoking his authority. I am the controller of everybody. I am the Lord of everybody. Does it mean he has ahankara? No, it does not mean he has ahankara. He is stating a fact. So, we should understand what is ahankara and what is mamakara. It is very important for us. If we do not understand it, we might end up misjudging people. We might end up misjudging not only acharyas, but even Bhagavan himself. Why am I saying this? Because we discussed about ahankara and mamakara in the previous class. And we said that the Alvar does not like it at all. And he has said it in his Pasura and all of that. But if somebody questions us tomorrow, if they ask what hypocrisy is this, Krishna himself has used ahankara. He has ahankara that he is the greatest, that he is the controller, that he owns everything. He has mamakara as well. Everything is mine. So how do we answer it? We say that that is not ahankara. I hope this is clear. Also, if by chance I am not properly audible, please let me know. And if there is any doubt, feel free to ask. Today...
No, it is clear and you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Today, we are going to discuss a little about Artha Panchakam. This Artha Panchakam is extremely important in Shri Vaishnavism, and a considerable number of works have been written on the topic of Artha Panchakam itself. Swami Vedanta Deshika has devoted an entire chapter of Rahasya Trayasara to teach Artha Panchakam. And he concludes by saying that the three Rahasya mantras that are given in Diksha to the Shri Vaishnavas, the Ashtakshara mantra, the Dvaya mantra, and the Gita Charama Shloka, all of these imply Artha Panchakam. Likewise, in Tengalai Sampradaya, Manavala Mamunigal has also written about Artha Panchakam. A lot of acharyas have written about Artha Panchakam. It is a very, very important concept in Shri Vaishnavism. If you know these five, then it could be said that you know everything about Shri Vaishnavism. These five are what we have been discussing all this while. As you can see in the slide, there is Prapya. Who is Prapya? He who is to be attained. That is Bhagavan himself. Okay. But we should know about the nature of Bhagavan. That is important for us. Correct? So if we do not know his nature, how would we understand anything at all? So we should understand the real nature of Paramatma. Not just that he is Sarva Shaktiman, not just that he is Sarva Srashta, not just that he is Sarveshwara. We should understand much more about him. Yes, he is the creator. Yes, he is all powerful. But there are many more things about him. So Swami Nammalvar brings out the Kalyana Gunas of Bhagavan. he styles his Tiruvaiboli in such a way that you understand the qualities of Bhagavan in the right path, that makes you to realize that Bhagavan has all the qualities necessary to be a Prapya. Just because somebody is all powerful, would you go to that person? No, that person should have the ability to help you and should have the willingness to help you. That person should have compassion. Okay, if somebody is all powerful and compassionate, is it enough? Or are there more qualities that are actually required? So if you really start thinking, you would realize that even in the ordinary world, suppose we are working somewhere, suppose I'm working in an office. I don't work at an office, but suppose I work at an office and I have a superior, I have a manager to whom I report to, my boss. How should the boss be? That quality has to be assessed. So the boss should be knowing the work completely, should be fully capable, should be able to manage me, should be compassionate, should be able to help me. Okay, but are these qualities enough? No, you can keep adding more and more and more qualities to the manager. In that way, Bhagavan has infinite auspicious qualities, but presenting those qualities in such divisions, in such groups, so as to make us understand that this is the best choice that we have. This is what we should really seek. So many people say they seek things, right? There are seekers of money. There are seekers of power. There are seekers of a lot of things. People say, I seek the purpose of life. Some people say, I am a seeker, I am not a believer. But what should they really seek? They should believe that there is a Prapya as expounded by the Vedas. They should believe that the Prapya is Sarveshwara, is the Almighty. They should believe that this Sarveshwara has infinite auspicious qualities and zero inauspicious qualities. And after all of these beliefs, they should seek that Bhagavan. So, when we say that Sanatana Dharma promotes seekers, seeker does not mean that you reject all the knowledge and say, I will not believe in anything, I will just keep seeking. If you are a traveler and if you are going towards a destination, you should know what the destination is. Suppose you arrive there correctly, you should be able to identify it correctly. Correct? There was a person, Christopher Columbus. He was looking for India. He went from Spain. He was looking for India. He arrived at a totally different country. He did not know where he is reaching. What did he do? He concluded that it is India. Correct? I do hope it was Christopher Columbus. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But the point is that that place was called Indies, which means India. But it was not Indies. So today we call it West Indies. The name West Indies came because when it was first found, the person thought it is India. Now, this person, this explorer, had one good quality and one gap. The good quality was that he knew there is a final destination. The bad quality was that he did not know how to recognize it. So, ideally, we should have both qualities. We should know that there is a final destination, and we should also be able to identify that final destination. If these two qualities are there with us, then we can be qualified enough to be called as seekers. We can start seeking. If we know the final destination, and how to identify it, and then we start seeking for such a kind of a final destination. So if you look at the acharyas, the various acharyas who have come, who have explained the scriptures of Sanatana Dharma, take Shankaracharya, Bhaskaracharya, even Yadava Prakasha would have, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Madhvacharya, everybody has defined the final goal and said how to identify it, the lakshana of that final goal. Of course, there might be differences between different schools, but if you do not define the final goal, then you cannot call yourself a seeker. For you to be a seeker, you need to know what you are seeking. So people who say, I seek the purpose of life, if they really find out the purpose of life, would they be able to identify that this is the purpose of life? How would they identify it? What if their entire life gets wasted in finding out the purpose of life? I find out my purpose of life when I'm 100 years old. But guess what? I have only 3 more days to live. What will I do after learning that? That would be a useless thing to do. Right? So, there are more important things that we should think about. We should realize that we ourselves have limitations. That takes us to Praptra. Who is that Praptra? That is Jiva, that is ourselves. We are the people who need to attain that ultimate goal. What is our nature? What is the nature of Jivatma? What is the nature of the Jivatma as it is today, bound by karma, bound in samsara, bound to a body? What is its nature? How is it behaving? All of that has to be understood by us. If we do not think about these things, then we would have so-called great gurus who say that they teach Sadvishaya, but they would not be teaching any Sadvishaya. They would just say, you should be seeker, you should never be a believer. Never believe anything, keep seeking. Then forever you will keep traveling. You will never, even if you find the final destination, you will not stop there. Duryodhana also wanted supreme happiness. Correct? But Duryodhana, despite seeing Krishna, he did not fall at the feet of Krishna and say, please give me moksha. Duryodhana saw Krishna so many times in his life. So, Duryodhana was a seeker of happiness. He was a seeker of eternal happiness. But he did not know how to identify the goal. Such kinds of seekers are useless. That is not the kind of seeker that we should become. We should be the seekers who understand prapya properly. And is that enough? If I know the goal and if I keep searching but my life ends, then what? Is there a way out? Yes, there is a way out. Find out the praptyupaya. Upaya means the way to get the attainment of the Almighty. This attainment of the Almighty is possible through a certain way. Which way? Or certain sets of ways, certain groups of ways. Which are those ways? If I do not know how to travel to India, instead of traveling eastwards, I travel westwards, I reach West Indies. Whose fault is it? It is mine. But if I already have a world map, if I already know that this is the direction in which I should go, then it would be much easier, right? That is what our elders have done. That is what our rishis have done. That is why we have scriptures in Sanatana Dharma. That is why we say that Shabda is also a Pramana. And therefore, as our elders, as our forefathers, as our great sages have shown us, as Bhagavan himself in his avatars, all of them have shown us the way to attain the Almighty. We should not just call ourselves seekers and start doing anything and everything in the name of seeking. But we should understand the actual way and then try to follow that way. What happens then? Once we start following that way, we would encounter prapti virodhi, obstacles in the path towards the attainment. Once we start traveling, then only we will see the difficulties during the travel. So we should know about the possible difficulties and we should learn how to overcome them, learn how to avert the difficulty itself. If it is not possible, then learn how to overcome the difficulty. If you are able to do all of these, what will happen? You will be able to get Bhagavat Prapti, correct? The final attainment itself. If you know that Bhagavan is the one who needs to be attained, but a question arises, why should I attain Bhagavan? Why should I attain moksha? Why should I attain this supreme state that is called moksha? Deshika asks a very beautiful question. Swami Deshika asks a very beautiful question in Shatadushani. He says, if in the final state of moksha, I have no knowledge, no happiness, no realization of the supreme, I am doing nothing, I am seeing nothing, hearing nothing, thinking nothing, then do I really need that to attain that kind of a thing? Why will I even want that kind of a state? This prapti, how should the prapti be for me to even seek such a kind of a prapti? That should also be known, right? If a person says, yes, I want to attain Bhagavan, but I believe that prapti means having infinite wealth, and that is all. Then maybe that person would understand even the upaya differently or not follow the upaya properly. So, what is this final state of moksha? Only if we understand the state of moksha properly, we have discussed it before, right? About the final state of moksha as defined in Vishishtadvaitha. So, if we understand the final state of moksha, only then would we be able to have the desire to go towards it. The desire would take us closer and closer, and we would eventually attain that state itself. That is what prapti is all about. So, it is important for us to understand these things. And when we are trying to understand, there are a few questions that should be asked. Let us see those questions as well. Prapya, right? We said that the Almighty is the Prapya. Rather than seeking happiness for myself, I should seek Bhagavan. If I seek Bhagavan, I would get happiness. Once I attain Bhagavan, I would get happiness. But should I seek just happiness? Yes, people want happiness, right? People want happiness. Knowledge, yes, people want infinite knowledge. Wealth, yes, people want infinite wealth. Some people want only happiness. Some people want only wealth. Some people want only knowledge. Some people say, I don't care. I want power. Maybe I get it through knowledge. Maybe I get it through wealth. I don't care, but I want power. Maybe I get it through possession. Some people say, I don't want anything great. I just want to get out of my troubles. There is Dukhatraya, right? There is Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, and Adi Bhautika Dukkhas. We have discussed it before. The different types of problems faced by people are divided into three. So, these three types of sadness causing elements need to be removed. We should be free from all kinds of trouble. So I don't care if I am not the most powerful. I don't care if I am not the wealthiest. I don't care if I am not the most knowledgeable. I don't care if I am not the most powerful. But please, at least give me a stress-free life. Give me a life without any sadness or depression. Give me a life where I am not cheated. Give me a life where I don't have to struggle. There are so many people who pray in this way. But there is something superior to all of these five. These five things, happiness, knowledge, wealth, power, and trouble-free life, there is something superior to all of that. How is it superior? We say that the ultimate prapya that is superior to all of these is Bhagavan himself. Correct? We say that he is the ultimate supreme saint being that we should seek. And why is defining the goal that way superior to all of these? Firstly, in the other cases, I would get only those individual things, right? If I get happiness, there is no guarantee that I get knowledge. If I get knowledge, there is no guarantee that I get wealth. Even if I get wealth, there is no guarantee that I get power. Maybe I get manipulated and lose all my wealth. So, the only way to attain all of these things, happiness, knowledge, wealth, power, trouble-free, all of that at the same time, is to seek somebody who is already having all of these. Who has all of these? Do I have infinite happiness? No. Why? I am a Shri Vaishnava. I am a follower of Bhagavad Ramanuja. I have undergone Samashrayana. I have Acharya Sambandha. I know that Sharanagati will give me moksha. Despite all of that, and I'm literally teaching Sanatana Dharma. I'm literally teaching Vishishtadvaitha. And despite all of that, do I have complete happiness? Do I have happiness at all parts of time? His Holiness, the Shankaracharya of Sringeri, once commented to my Acharya, saying that despite the Veda and the Vedic scriptures clearly saying certain things, very clearly saying certain things, we know that this is what is said, yet we are not able to behave that way. We are not able to keep ourselves that way. The jivas, even if they get the knowledge, that knowledge does not bring calmness. That knowledge does not lead to immediate perfection. It does not lead us to anything, right? I have the knowledge, but did the knowledge give me permanent happiness? No. The knowledge, yes, we know that this is how we should be. Yet, practicing is a totally different and something that has its own difficulty that is involved. So, knowledge is there, happiness is there. I know that no matter what I say, if I tell you that I have complete happiness, I have no trouble in life. Maybe whenever I come to the public, I keep saying, ha, ha, ha. I keep smiling. I keep having a positive face. I give out positive vibes wherever I go. People who look at me, they all think, look at him. He is calm all the time. He is happy all the time. Look at how he speaks. He has calmness and happiness everywhere. They might be thinking that way. But only when I return home and start thinking for myself when I am alone, would I know about all the problems that I have, right? Maybe I have a disease. Maybe I have a problem with my family. Or maybe I have a problem at the place where I work. Something would be there. And everybody has that something. Nobody is void of that. A jiva cannot be void of that. Therefore, even in Advaita, Adi Shankaracharya, he did not define Jivana Mukta as a Mukta. He said, Jivana Mukta is a person for whom the root of avidya has been uprooted. The root has been removed, but a complete mukti is not yet seen there. So it is an intermediate stage. So when you are a jiva, why? Because when you have the complete realization, according to Shankaracharya, you get the nirguna moksha, right? That is a state of nirgunatva, which is very different from what a jivana mukta does. So all this happiness, knowledge, just getting the knowledge is not enough, right? What did Shankaracharya say? Take his example one more time. We are discussing Shankaracharya in a Vishishtadvaitha class because we are looking at examples, that is all. Wherever it is acceptable to us, we will keep taking such examples. So, Shankaracharya said, there are certain Mahavakyas in Veda. We have to think about these Mahavakyas. The meaning of Mahavakyas as interpreted by Shankaracharya, we have to contemplate on that, right? Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. That is how you should behave. But if you read the Mahavakya or if you hear the Mahavakya, even if you get it as an Upadesha from an Acharya, even if you learn the meaning, would you immediately get the moksha that Shankaracharya talked about? Would you immediately get the realization that Jiva and Brahma are one and the same? You will not get the realization. So to cite the Shankaracharya of Sringeri one more time, he said, no matter what you think, you will not be able to imagine Nirgunatva. No matter how much you reason, you will not be able to prove Nirgunatva. You will never be able to imagine it. You will never be able to describe it. That is Nirgunatva. Where you are void of attributes, how can you even be described? So, that is not a stage that people attain simply by getting this knowledge, right? Maybe there is something more. That something more, that realization is there. Okay, so shall I seek realization? If I seek realization, will I get everything? No. I am seeking realization, right? That is also a kind of selfishness at the end of the day. And as I am seeking to realize, how would I move once I get knowledge until I get realization? There are different ways told to different people. Shankaracharya, for example, says keep reciting it, keep contemplating on it. But maybe I am unable to do it. Maybe I am not qualified enough to do it properly every day. I do it once, I do it twice. The third day, a mosquito bites me and I immediately kill the mosquito and I think, what is this? I am different from the mosquito. I have been contemplating that I am the same as everything else. That the Atma is one and the same. Yet when a mosquito bit me, I immediately killed the mosquito. So if I get distracted and stop thinking altogether, what would happen? These kinds of problems are inherently present when there is selfishness involved. If I want happiness for myself, if I want knowledge for myself, if I want wealth for myself, if I want power for myself, all of that, if I want a trouble-free life, even that, all of that counts as selfishness, right? What if I say, I want happiness for another person? I want knowledge for another person. I want wealth for another person. That is not selfish. But then I will not be the seeker. The seeker will have to be that person. If I want another person to get all of these, then the other person should only become the seeker. Right? So, If I need all of these, maybe I ask all of these not only for myself, but for the entire world, the entire universe. I want everybody to be happy. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. I want everybody to be knowledgeable. I want everybody to be wealthy. Hmm? So I want everybody to be free, not be bound in any way. I want everybody to be trouble free. Would that be called selfishness? Well, there is still an element of selfishness involved there. Because when I say everybody, when I'm thinking about everybody other than me, there is no selfishness. But when I'm including myself in the list, there is selfishness. Therefore, if I am to seek something without any selfishness, I should seek something without thinking that it is for myself. I want happiness for myself, knowledge for myself. That is how we seek, right? Come out of that selfishness. How do you come out of that selfishness? By seeking something that would not be for you. Therefore, how do we seek? In Vishishtadvaitha, we do not say that the Prapya, Bhagavan, is for us. We say, we are for him. We are for him. We are meant for him. That takes us to who we are. Who are we? When we defined the word Sharira, when we said that Jiva is explained as a Sharira of Paramatma, we said the Lakshana of Sharira, correct? We said Yasya Chetanasya Yat Dravyam, of the supreme sentient being. The entities known as Jivas are belongings. So Yasya Chetanasya Yat Dravyam, part of that definition, explains that we are properties of the Paramatma. Then Sarvatmana Swarthe Niyantum Dharaitum Chashakya. So in every manner, we are controllable by him. We are born by him, B-O-R-N-E. And that Sheshataika Swarupa. We are like attributes that exist only to add glory to Paramatma. Our very existence, Sheshataika Swarupam, Sheshata means, and the property of having an existence that adds glory to the Sheshi. So Sheshi is the Prapya, that is the Paramatma. Shesha is me, the Praptri, the Jiva. So, if you have to talk about the Praptri Jivasya Lakshana, you should understand that the Lakshana of Jiva is that of one who is belonging to Paramatma and one who is for Paramatma. So when we think that we are for him, we will seek only him. Correct? Okay. But why do we suffer? Why do we need him? We need him, right? Why is he a prapya? Why do we even have to need him? What is the necessity? We have karma. We are bound by karma. Both punya karma and papa karma. We are bound by both of them. Punya can give us only swarga at best. After that, we once again take birth. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Then, after we take birth again, we once again experience pleasures and pains. That is how life is. Correct? So this karma that we have, this karma baddhatva that we have is anadi. It is beginningless. It is beginningless, and yet we do not say that everybody is a born sinner. We could say so in Sanatana Dharma, yet we do not say it in the way that the Abrahamic religions say. Abrahamic religions say you are sinner by nature, you need to purify yourself. We say everybody is born with good karma as well as bad karma. Therefore, everybody has done good things. Duryodhana was a born sinner, correct? When he was born itself, there were evil omens indicating that he will live an evil life. So he was a born sinner. At the same time, he was born with so much punya karma, because of which he enjoyed a lavish life as a prince. Right? He enjoyed a lavish life. He would go and flaunt when he heard that the Pandavas in exile, they are in the forest. What did Duryodhana do? He went to flaunt his wealth. He took his wife with him. He took his retinue. He took his servants. He made them all to decorate themselves in the best possible way. And he said, let me flaunt all my wealth and greatness in front of them. Let me show them how happy I am. So, Duryodhana was born with punya, because of which he also had wealth. He had a good wife. He had uh, a large number of people following him. A father who would not only be physically blind, but also sometimes become blind to dharma and support him. So Duryodhana was also born with some punya. So yes, we are born sinners. But if I keep saying that we also have punya, we might get ahankara. So we should look at our imperfections and get out of them. That is the purpose of life. Are we inherently imperfect? This is another question that we should look at. Now in Advaita, we are not inherently imperfect, right? Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. Inherent imperfection is not there. Jiva has Anadikala Avidya Prabhava. There is the effect of Avidya, which is Anadi. Since forever ignorance has been there. But the real nature is not imperfect. The real nature of the Jiva is Brahman itself, said Shankaracharya. What do we say in Vishishtadvaitha? In Vishishtadvaitha, we say the Jiva is not inherently imperfect. Yes, since Anadikala, it has had imperfection due to karma sambandha, due to samsara sambandha. But its real nature, its real inherent nature is what it has for the maximum amount of time with it. And that is the nature of perfection, which it attains when it attains Paramatma. So, no matter how much time has passed, since Anadikala, I have been living, I have been taking births, I have been taking births, and I have been dying. Simhena bhutva bahavo mayataha. Vyagrena bhutva bahavo mayataha. I have been born as a lion for so many times. I have been born as a tiger for so many times. I have been born as so many things for so many times. Yet, once I get moksha, the future in front of me is going to be so big that the past before moksha would be nothing compared to it. Although we call the past as anadi, when we say that in Vishishtadvaita, we say this karma sambandha, samsara sambandha, all of these are anadi. That's what we say, right? We say that since Anadikala creation has been happening. When did the first creation happen? Did it happen 50 yugas ago? 5,000 yugas ago? 5 crore yugas ago? We say it is untraceable. So, when we say Anadi, in Shri Vaishnava sense, in this context, in Vishishtadvaitha, we mean that it is where the Adi, the origin, is untraceable. An untraceable origin is what we call as Anadi. Okay. So the origin is untraceable. That is what we say. It is very important because saying there is no origin is different from saying that the origin is untraceable. So we call it Anadi in a metaphorical way because the Adi cannot be traced. It is a very important point for us. It differentiates us in a way from certain other philosophies. Dvaita Vedanta, for example, would talk about the inherent imperfection of the jiva. Vishishtadvaita does not talk about. It says there is inherent perfection. Since an untraceable amount of time, this perfection has not been attained. But once you attain perfection, the time in future would be infinite. What is the advantage of calling the past as untraceable origin? There are several advantages. In our context, the most important advantage is that we say no matter how big the past was, once we attain moksha, the future is going to be infinite, right? So, before moksha and after moksha, the times, if you look at it, are they going to be equally long? No. The time period before moksha is going to be nothing when compared to the time period after moksha, because the time period before moksha is finite. It is finite of untraceable origin. So we call it as without origin because the origin is untraceable. However, it is finite. I hope it is clear. About Dukhatraya, we have already discussed before. So, if there is any question, feel free to ask. Uh, if not, we will conclude the class for today.
It was quite clear and comparison to journey and with the example to Columbus made it very, very understandable.
Okay then. Thank you for attending. Shri Vatsavam Chaprashodati Kostamasya Srivasaragha Gurustayan Patasya Vidya Vapya Vidhotamata Vidhana Kurve Bharati Karunakaraksha. Thank you for attending. If there is no